a very good evening to all the participants. Hope you are enjoying this WebGIS course, and by this time you might have learned some of the basic concepts of WebGIS. Today we have a lecture on, or the session we must say, on OGC web services data publishing using Geoserver. Basically, today we will be talking on how to publish the data set and how to consume some existing data sets or the web services in my application. So what we have done from today onwards, we have divided the sessions in 4 parts. The first part today, we will be having an overview of data services or the OGC web services, and we will be having a small introduction to Geoserver also. What is Geoserver and what are the installation steps of Geoserver. Part 2, we will be having how to publish my own data in Geoserver. And in part 3rd, we will be having one mapping API called OpenLayer. We will be discussing on OpenLayer as well. And in the 4th part, leaflet application. And then finally, we will have one web application using all the services which we have published as a service, or we want to use it from some other existing services. Okay, so the content of today's session, it will be like, it will have Open Geospatial Consortium. We will be talking about the OGC web services, what are the various types of OGC web services, and we will be having a software tools for implementing OGC web services. Already I told you, Geoserver is one such application which can be used for implementation of OGC web services. Okay, so we will be having an introduction to Geoserver architecture, and at the end of the session, we will have a small demo how to use this WMS or the WFS services in the QGIS environment. Today we will be having only an introduction of Geoserver, and we will see how we can use some existing web map services or web feature services in QGIS. How and what is the difference? What is the difference between a WMS and WFS? These differences can be very easily visualized in a QGIS environment. Okay, although we can have some other applications also, but for this demo purpose, I have used QGIS software. So first of all, the very basic client-server architecture diagram, which I had showed you in the first class. We have one client end, we have any kind of web browser is there, and then we can have a mobile clients also, and we can have thick clients also, wherein we have to install some software over there. Then what are these clients doing actually? These clients are making a request. In our case, these requests are the GIS request or the map request, or it can be a geoprocessing request, a request which processes some GIS applications, or it's some, let us say an example, I want to find out the which are the hospitals which are in the vicinity of, so let us say 10 meter of the buffer of the road. So these kinds of requests where some processing is required. Or let us, one example I will take it, site suitability analysis I want to do. I want to find out what are the places where I can set up an industrial or industrial site within a city. So there are different criteria for it. So complete workflow. So if we can implement our small processes as a web service, then that can be combined together for a complete geospatial workflow as well. Okay, so that all can happen in a WebGIS environment, in the web environment. So the small example which I have given to over here. Let us take one very specific example where we can, let us say I want to have solid waste management dumping site. All the dumps of the waste of the municipal waste. Now the municipal corporation is there, they want to find out a place where they can dump it. So this particular problem can be solved using GIS also. How they can solve it? In GIS, first of all, we will define some criteria. A criteria can be like distance from the road. That site should not be very far away from the road. This is first criteria. We can have another criteria like it should not be near to road, near to a water body. First, we are saying it is not should be very far away from the road. Second criteria, we are saying it should not be near to the road, near to the water body. It should not be a slopy land. It should have an appropriate groundwater table. It should not. It should the site should not be at such places where the water table is a higher level. Okay, it should be deep down at that places. So there are certain criteria. Now these all criteria can be converted into a GIS layer. Okay, then once they are converted into GIS layer, then we define weights for them. So the first part was converting the criteria into GIS layers. Now these GIS layers can be converted to a web service also. I can get all these data set as a web service. So this is what we are going to learn in the coming sessions over here. Then second part was there assigning the weights for the criteria or the layers. How to assign those weights? There are different multiple algorithms are there. One very common algorithm is a ranking method, or it can be a AHP method. So these methods can also be converted as a web process. We can convert this algorithm into a process, or we can say a service process, we can say. So once the data is in the service form, your process or your algorithm, that is also a process, then these can be combined together, your web service becoming one data service, becoming one input for your web processes as well. And then it can produce some outputs which can be further converted into a GIS web service, we can, or a geospatial web service. So these are the complete flow. This can be implemented in a WebGIS environment, and there are numerous advantages for it. Already we have discussed what are those advantages. So I hope you remember those advantages as well. Now if you see it here, this was our map server here. Now this map server is our point of focus from today onwards. We will be focusing only on this part. Okay, this other part, web server also I will take you half an hour we will take for web. During that half an hour, we will be setting up one web server and one GIS server. So both the servers available, and we will try to see how these entire this architecture comes into implementation part. Okay. Then if you say one more part, why we have gone for the GIS or the web services, of course the answer was standards, because we want some standard mechanism through which we can transfer the data between various web applications. So these are some of the applications like ease and certainty of communication across the border. This is one very important aspect of interoperability, we can say, which required for the data standards. Then ability to easily combine standardized data from different sources. This already I told you in the first class also, that data is coming from different sources and they have different formats. Now these formats, combining them together is a huge task. So it can consume a huge amount of time. So what we can do, we can, if these data sets are in a standard format, then we can easily integrate them to our web GIS workflow as well. So standardization, so ability to combine them together, ability to repeat analysis on multiple data sets from different sources. This repetition of a particular task, that is also very important aspect for this data standard. Productivity, repeativity, time saving for the users and developers. These are some of the advantages of standards. Now if we talk about Open Geospatial Consortium, this is one global organization which I told you earlier also, which is responsible for creating standards for GIS data sets. Okay. Now if you see it here, that was formed in 1994, and most of the time you will find in the internet also it is referred by OGC, a very popular term, OGC web services, or something. Sometimes we will also call them OWS. That is called OGC web services, or to be very specific, Open Geospatial Consortium web services. Okay. Now this particular organization is not a single company, or we can say a single organization. It is an international consortium of more than 500 organizations, which are from not only from the private partners, they are also from government agencies, research institutes. Many are linked together. We have the members from different organizations which form this consortium. Now here, what is the applicability? How people are using it? If you can see it here, more than 200,000 OGC web services have been deployed across the web. One few examples we'll see today also. What it does, what it is doing actually is OGC. It is creating or generating the open standards and specifications for geospatial data sets. Interoperability, that I told you earlier also. The seamless exchange of data or the processes between two applications or between two agencies. Interoperability of geospatial and location-based services. It implements it. How it implements it? Interoperability through the means of these standards only. Geospatial web services, they have created some examples. They are numerous, many web services they have created, but some of them are like web mapping services, also known as WMS, very popular term here. I will show you some example. One example already I had shown you in the first lab also. That was through Bhuvan, we were able to get one web map service. Similarly, we have web feature service also. Now, in the web map service is a portrayal service that I told you earlier. Also, portrayal service means it only for the visualization. The outputs are in the form of JPEG or PNG file, but they all are geo-referenced. You can always get the attributes also behind those maps that can also be accessed. The web mapping services has those methods which allows those features, information extraction as well. We have web feature service. Now this is a very, we can say we have to use it very cautiously, web feature service, because this particular service allows the user to see my data, to use my data as well. He can download that data, he can edit that data, and he can update that data, he can delete that data. So this is one particular aspect of that also. Now, similarly, we have web coverage services also. These particular coverage services are basically for the, we can say, grid data or the satellite images, aerial photographs, or digital image, digital elevation models. So all the raster data sets, they are covered with WCS, and there is actually one more web service that is called web catalog service. So sometimes we can also write it as CWS. Okay, this is a coverage web service, CWS. So now one more is the other part is the web processing service. There are numerous methods of implementing this web processing services, WPS services. We can have a Java applications also for converting my algorithm into a web service. I can use R programming language, I can use Python programming language, because you know that processing is always dependent upon a particular programming language. Because I have, suppose I want to write a small program of calculating the buffer of a road layer, then I need to write some programming languages in. So I have to code that particular algorithm in one or the other programming language. Now this it is this OGC WPS is not stick to a particular language. We can have those web processes implemented either in Python, R programming language, Java also, but very popular is R programming language. Many people are using it, the R, because of the ease of using it. It is very simple to create a web processing in R programming language. Try to explore that, or we will see if we can cover that part also into it. These all are referred to as Open GIS standards. Now let us go into the further detail, some technical detail of these web services. As I told you, is a web map service. This is one service. It is an HTTP interface for requesting geo-registered map images. What kind of request we make? The request is a geographic layer and area of interest to be processed. And what the response come from the server? One or more registered images. So we send one request along with this WMS. I will give you one demo also of it, how we are sending this request basically. Okay. Then once this request is sent, then the service processes it with the help of that WMS and provides the response in the form of a JPEG or a PNG image, basically. Whereas in case of your WFS, it provides support for insert, update, delete, lock, query, and discovery operations on the geographic features. It also fetches the original data from the server as well. Suppose I have stored some data in the server, that can also be fetched with this WFS web services. Last is the web coverage service, not last, but it is one which I am describing over here. There are many basically. So this web service is basically for the coverages. What do we mean by the coverages? Coverages can be a satellite image, it can be a classified map also, it can be a digital aerial photo, digital elevation data, suppose thematic maps, it can be a land use map, it can be a soil map or a geomorphology map, any kind of map along with their attributes. Okay, they can also be accessed using the WCS web services. More onto this web map service now. It is basically for implementing a image service basically. Okay, for trial services which I was telling, it does. You should remember that there are certain limitations also. It does not allow for cached map services. We have a different application or a variant of this WMS which will allow caching as well. It provides basically three main functions for the client to access the functionality. What are those three functions? We will see. Two functions are mandatory to be implemented, and the third one is the operational. Okay, it is optional basically. So this result in two general type of web services. What are those two web services? A basic web services or a queryable web services. This optional part, if it is added to this basic part, it becomes a queryable services. Okay, if you see it here, what are those three methods which I was telling over here? The three methods are the three basic methods. Basically, there are other methods also: get capabilities, get map, and get feature info. These are the three basic methods which are available with WMS or the web map service. If you see it here, this get feature info, it is available with queryable WMS, which I told you. Basic WMS, only two are there. If I want to get a queryable WMS, then we have another method with it, along with these two methods as well. That is the get feature info. What does this get capability is doing? It describes the capabilities and the available layers. So if I have this, what this method will do actually, I am having a GIS server and I have published n number of layers as a WMS, correct? So once these layers are published as WMS, so they become the capability of that server. So what this get capability method will do, it will fetch me the list of all those layers, and from those layers I can select a particular map. By which method? The method called get map. So it from the get cap. So what can be the parameters for the get capability? The get capability parameters can only be the URL which is pointing to my GIS server. Okay, once that GIS server is pointed and all the layers are listed, now this get map, this method will have the parameter URL of the server, GIS server, plus name of the layer also. And we can have formats also we can define, extent also we can define. So it will fetch those information for me. This get map, because this is a core, we can say the very building block of a WMS service core. Now once the data has been fetched, we want to extract the information behind it. Let us say I have let us say village census map, which I have obtained as a web map. Now I want to see at particular village what is the population, or what is the total census parameters or the socio-economic data set behind that village boundary. So that can be accessed with this get feature info. Okay, but suppose you are not very much comfortable with the programming, then you need not to worry, but you should be aware of this. Okay, these are most of the time utilized by the programmer. He will only use these methods in his scripting language. That is, there are many scripting languages behind it which calls this method. But there are some client-side applications also wherein these methods have been inbuilt. like QGIS is one software. What this QGIS is doing, it is using this get capability method. It will fetch all those available layers. Let us take one example for it. Let us describe one example. One QGIS software is there. Okay, this is my QGIS software. This is a very popular open source GIS software basically. Now we want to get one web map service. Now how the three methods it is doing it, how those three methods are working. Let us try to see those things as well. So what we will do, first of all, we will make a connection to a server. What can be that server? Let us take, we will have it here. I have one WMS layer. One sample I am taking it so that to get more acquainted with this method. bhuvan.nrsc.gov.in. So this is the basic page of Bhuvan method. Now here there is one section called maps and OGC services. So this thematic services, you just click it over here, and then we will see here there are many layers are there. I will just improve the size over here. Select map. Let us say land use map of 11 and 12. Then we will select one state for Uttarakhand. Then we will say view. So it will give me this data set in this portal. Now we want to get this data set as a web service. How to get that one? So if you see it here, there is one tab called web service. Now inside this web service, I have a different URL. Now this is the name of that server, which will be utilized by that get capability method. Remember it here. So what I will do, I will just copy the name of this URL, and we will give this name over here. Layer, add layer, WMS layer. Click it here. Now I can create one new get capability method over here. Let us say LULC method over here, LULC, and then this URL I will copy it here. Once I click OK, what it will do? It will call the get capability method. Okay, and if I say connect, now that method is being called, that get capability method. So what it will do? It will list all the capabilities of that GIS server. So all the layers are listed here. So we have got the capability of all the layers. So this is the meaning of this get capability method, which I was telling to you over here. It is doing nothing, but it is listing all the layers from a particular server to your client side application. Now similarly, let us say I have my own GIS server. I have created one, let us say IIRS.map.gov.in, one URL we have created, and there we have installed one GIS server, and I have published all my data set, like where the data set which are concerned to me, there as a geo web service. So what this get capability method, and I have given that URL to you, to the users, we have defined it, shared this this particular URL. So what they can do, they can use this get capability method to get the list of all the layers available in my server. So listing of layer the task of listing the method is performed by this get capability. Now if I say get map, now what it will do, let us go to this QGIS here again. So there are many layers are there, but so it has listed all the things. If you see it here very smartly, this particular software has given us one search also over here. Okay, we can search from these listing which layer I want. So I want this layer only, LULC UK, this particular layer I want. So suppose there are thousands of layers. So we should have some facility which can search that layer for me. Suppose I'm interested for this particular layer. I will just copy it here, search it here, and it has listed that layer to me. Select it, add. What it will do, add? It will now call the get map. If you see it here, by that get map, I have got this particular layer at my QGIS software. Now this I can have, with this I can fetch from for a particular web application as well. We will have an example for that also. I request this, please, if you can. So this layer is there. Now, if I click a particular point over here, it will fetch that information for me, forest-eds. So how it is coming? It is coming from the get feature info. Okay, this particular layer is coming from get feature info. So the third method, if you see it here, over here, first was get capability, get map, and get feature info. So I am getting this information from get feature info, this particular data set. So what this is a WMS. Get capability has given me the list of all the layers. Get map allowed me to fetch this data set from the server, and this get feature info allowed me to fetch the information particular to a particular polygon. If you click this one, it will say it is an agriculture or a cropland, or is green yellow part. If I say this one is your water body or the wetland, what are this red? You click it here, so I will get it like built up or the urban. So this information I am getting from get feature info. So these three are the methods which are implemented over here. Okay, so so this is one example which we have seen for web mapping service. Now let us go further here. So what can be done with the WMS? We have seen some of the features that we have we are able to fetch the data set. We were able to query it also. So we can map, however, we can zoom the features also, or we can pan across those layers. So each client application like ArcView, Map, Google Earth, etc. handles WMS services differently. So we have different kinds of software. QGIS has its own mechanism of handling with the WMS service. However, the following functions are available: map, display, navigation, zoom to layer, layer control, identify feature. So now if you see there, only with the queryable map service. So this particular layer is a queryable map service basically. That's why I am able to see it. It is not a simple map service. WMS, it is a queryable or a queryable map service. Now if you see the right click, zoom to layer, so it will again zoom it to the particular layer. I am just zooming it further here. So this navigation, all these methods are available with this. Now right click to this and zoom to layer. So it will, those also available with this particular WMS. So that can be done. Now anything else is not available, like feature selection. We cannot select the features over there. Geoprocessing we cannot perform. No attribute table or browser display. Menus, buttons are grayed out and disabled. So these are some of the things which cannot be performed with a WMS service. An example, let us take now another example. We will take a village level geospatial socioeconomic data for the state of Uttarakhand, India. So these data sets are available. There is one particular this URL maps-public.go.nyu.edu:443. This is the name of the particular web application which has published most of the layer as a web service in a Geoserver software. So if you see it here, get capability URL. This is a get capability URL of that particular server. So let us take one example for this also. I will just copy the service URL over here. This here. Now this is the village level sensor data set. Okay, this whether we are able to get it or not. I will just remove this one from here. Remove layer. Okay, and then layers. We have add layer, add WMS layer. Then we can create a new one now. Okay, new the village boundary. I want it here. I will copy that. Let us say village over here, and then URL. I will just paste it over here, and then okay. If I say connect this village, now it will fetch all the village boundaries, whatever is available there. If you see it here, not one, but there are many data sets that are available. But my interest is on Uttarakhand village boundaries, whether it is available or not. You can search it here, village, So just type village and it will fetch the name starting from village for all the things over here. If you see it here, Tripura, or let us say there are many. I will just make this box little bit bigger one. Okay, so if you see it here, so these are the village level geospatial socio-economic data for Kerala, for Maharashtra. These data sets are available in the internet. You can also utilize it. Manipur, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. Let us take a smaller one, because the more, let us take Uttarakhand. Basically, it's a small state. Add and then close. If you see, it is fetching. This is the village boundary of entire Uttarakhand state with all the census data. This I have overlaid on top of Bhuvan geospatial data set. So if you see it here, this is solving the purpose. This is solving that georeferencing problem also for me. I have taken the data set from two different sources. The first one was from the Bhuvan geo portal, and the second one is from the some other geo portal, that is geoc.net basically. So, or the exact URL is like this. It is maps-public-geo-nyu.edu. Okay, from this particular URL, I am getting another set of data sets. Now I am able to combine them together over here in this geo portal. But if you see it here, okay, I am not able to see the boundary, the land use map behind it. So we will learn more on top of it also, because this WMS also supports transparency as well. So we can have a transparent layer also, so that we can see only the boundaries, and this we want to do. We don't want to see the other things. Let us say if I say properties, whether we can change the properties. So if you see it here, it does not allow much features with it, symbology or transparency, though I can do it here. It will allow that also. Just click it here, apply. So we can just do it here like this, apply. Okay, okay. Little bit later, some time it takes, apply. So it supports this transparency basically. Apply. If you see it here now, we can zoom it here at this particular place. Okay. We can zoom to any particular place here. Now, if you see it here, there we can see this thing. This is the particular village. Now, in this village, we are able to see there is some forest area is there. Some agricultural land is also there, whereas this particular village is having this purple color. So we can see what is that purple color in that particular village. If you click this particular point, so it will say LULC, barren or unconsiderable land. Now I want to see what is this village. So what you can do, you can make this layer as active and click it here. It will show you the name of the village is something. You can see it here. The name of the village is Bhatwari or something. This is the name of that village. So we are able to see the village name of Bhatwari. So this is the name of the village and land use map. So both we are able to query over here. But I cannot do much onto it. Boundary I am able to see it, but I cannot. If you see it here, right click, open attribute table. I don't have that attribute table with it. Only I am on the clickable info. By clicking those polygons, I am able to see the information, but I am not. Now suppose we want these boundaries also, so that we can download it at our end and use it. So that is possible with the help of a web feature service. So we will see that web feature services as well. So this was one example. If you see it here, the get capability, it is maps-public-geo-edu. This is the complete URL for the capabilities. Capabilities, I told you, listing of all the servers, all the layers over there. Format supported by them. It is IMG, PNG, application. These are the various formats which it supports basically. Okay, and subtype open layer also it supports. Even if you see it image GeoTIFF, it is supporting 8 GIF image, JPEG, PNG, 8-bit image, and there are some SVG plus XML. So these are formats which are supported by this get map. What is the get map URL? Now if you see it here, this is a get map URL over here. WMS over like this. The same, it is similar only, but here we can give the name of the layer also. Then only it will be displayed. So we will see more detail how we can code this particular line in my application. Suppose I am developing one WebGIS application. So which are those methods through which I can have this get method also. So this get map information over there. Format supported by get feature info. So plain text it will come. It can have a VND, OGC, GML, XML, or it can have some HTML format also, JavaScript format also. These are the JSON format also. So this information which I am seeing over here, this can be in these many formats as well. Okay, these are formats it is available, because in some programming application we require this kind of information. In QGIS I require the plain text, so I have displayed it over here. Let us say you have your own application, you want, I want the data in JSON format. So how to get that one? So this can be done by specifying this JSON as a parameter along with this get feature info URL. You can get that value also. Just go to further second one here. Full layer, I am just showing a demo. This was like full layer info. So this complete layer info is available there with the get capability over here. So if you see it here, it is somewhere it is lying. This is the extent of it, and in the entire globe, where does it lie? So at this place it is lying. So it gives you the complete metadata for it. Name of the layer, what is the title of the layer, keyword for the WMS. These keywords need to be defined. Okay, you can define it here. Specific to your requirement. There is EPSG code also. EPSG code means the projection system as well. 4326. Location covered India, country India, province Uttarakhand. What is the approximate area? 103,509 square kilometers. This is the bounding boxes. Minimum X, minimum Y, minimum. Yeah, these four corners of the bounding box are defined over here. So this was one particular example of web map service. Now let us take another example, feature service. I want these data sets, the actual data set. So what is this WFS basically? Now we were over here. This was our QGIS. So my requirement was this. I want these boundaries so that I can properly symbolize it. Symbolize this particular boundaries. I don't want this gray color over there. I want it the color of these boundaries to be by some red color, or some green color, or some blue color. A transparency I don't want. I want to make this polygons hollow. So this all is not possible with web map service. WMS means this is not possible. This will become possible if your data is published as a WFS only. So this WFS solves that problem. Okay, getting the data so that it can be utilized further. What you can do, you can download it also, and you can, no need of downloading, you use it and do your analysis, and then let the data be over there only. Why to make a chunk of data at your end? Let the data be there itself. Okay. So WFS is a OGC specification for implementing feature services. It provides three main functions. What are the three functions for it? First one is the same, get capability, same as it is for WMS. What this get capability will do? It will fetch all the layers with WFS capabilities. It will be listing. It is doing nothing but listing of all the layers. Describe feature type. It can describe feature type also, whether it is a point, it is a polygon, or it is a line. This retrieves the XML schema to allow WFS client to parse the result set. Get feature. This is the important part. Features also I can get. So request is the get feature, service is WFS, version itna, maximum features 10, type GSML, borehole, and output format GML3. So these all are passed as a parameter with this method. If you pass this method, so these values can be changed. I can have get feature, I can increase this maximum features also, how many features I want to fetch at that time. Basically, there are 11 operations which are supported by WFS. What are those 11 operations? Get capability we have seen over here, describe feature type, get property value, get feature with lock feature, transaction, create stored query, drop stored query, list stored queries also, describe scores. These all are there. But basically, for the starting point, you can have get capability, describe feature, and get feature. We can have with lock also. We will have an example of the same boundaries now we want it. But if you see it here, the URL will change. Although the source is same, it is Geo NYC 443 Geoserver. But if you see there at the last, I have changed my request now from WMS, it is now WFS. So let us try to examine it here. I will just copy this URL from there, Control C, and let us go to our QGIS software layer. If you see it here, this is one client which allows add WFS layer, separate WMS layer and WFS layer as well. Just click on that WFS layer. I will have a new. We can create some name. You can give it over here. WFS_demo. Something I'm giving. Now this is any name you can give over here. Then you can paste this URL over here. If you see it here, it is a WFS now. Okay. Then we click OK and then add. Now if you see it here, WMS info, connect it. Now what it will do, it will fetch all the layers from there. Now it can search it also over here. Village, if you type it here, village, geospatial data. Now our WMS came very easily. Now let us say Uttarakhand. Select this particular boundary over here, census data, add, and then close. So if you see it here, now you have got the values also. Right click, properties. If I see it here, I can change the symbology. It has got me, I have got this data as a layer now, as any other layer. So I can have a symbology, single symbol, or I can have categorized also based upon any total population. I can do a small level of classification also over here. Like if you see total population, let us do classify. So it will do that classification also, which was not possible with your QGIS or with your WMS service. It will take certain time. So it is always some. So we could have taken a smaller layer. So what it is doing now, this information is going to the server. From there, it is fetching those features and then classifying them over here. This our QGIS software. This is on client software, we can say. I would not have taken that one. You try it from your end. Okay, it is taking certain time now. Because the number of points are many over there, you could have taken a smaller village here. So what I will do here, we can cancel it, or I will. You can just cancel it actually. Okay. Might not, yeah, okay, something it has come over there. If I say apply, or not all the layers, but some layers we have already got over here. Now we can classify it also. Let us say if I say graduated, let us say graduated is a better one now, basically. Equal interval classes, 5 classes we want, classify. Or it will do it there for me. Now if you see at the back end, so I have got the village boundaries now as a classified map. Again, we will do it here, properties here, because it was taking certain time. Again, what we will do, let us not go into detail one. Unique single color only I am using it. This is the color. I don't want the color. I only want the simple line. Okay, apply. And this color of the line also we can change. Let us make it to red or something, yellow. Not yellow is already there. We can have it, let us say this boundary or black boundary. Or you can have a dark blue boundary as well. This is blue boundary I want it here. Okay, apply. Okay. Now if you see it here, the boundaries are there now. Now I am able to see not only the land use map, but these boundaries also. Okay. So if you click it here at this point, this now feature also I am able to select. Now same thing was not possible with your this map. If you see it here, you are not able to get this feature. Now if you see all the values it is giving here, I have to select this one basically. If you see it here, just click it here. It will not select it. It will only give you the information like this. Some format it has selected like this. Whereas in case of WFS, I am able to get the full data set like this. Oh, sorry, I have to select this, make this layer as an active layer. You select it, this feature is selected, and all the data, Sarkanda, something, or this is Koti Bangaon. Okay, then the land use map also at the back end of it. So this way, this is the very good advantage of your WFS. You can provide your data set also to the user. Now, if you see here, right click, open attribute table. I am able to see all the attributes associated with this particular layer. It will fetching it. Many features are there. These many features are now, it is able to fetch it. 16,000, some 666 features are there. These many villages. Okay. So these polygons are there basically, and they have all the attributes along with them. Now what you can do, you can right click, you can export the save feature as, you can get it as a save file also. Here I can save it as a village boundary. Let us save it here. D drive, let us say, let one new folder I will take here, and any we can save it here. 2021 lecture we were taking it, WebGIS, new folder. Let us say data. Okay. Then this is, what is our village underscore CNSUS census underscore 2001. Okay. Dot save file though. And UK also underscore UK. So save it here, and then okay. So what it will do, it will, if you see it here, now it is trying to export all these WFS feature to a save file. So I am able to get that data also. This is possible only with WFS, not with any other layer. WMS you cannot do. Now this is again specific. It is the whole control of the organization or the website which is providing this kind of feature. If you see this Bhuvan map is not available as a WFS feature. They are making it available only as WMS. Okay, although it may be there, but not provided for the public use. Okay, so there are certain policies and all those things are in place which restricts publishing the data, publishing some classified data as a feature service or a web feature service. Okay, so this was about web feature service also. Let us go to, this was the two basic which I wanted to discuss today. First was the WMS, and what are those methods available with it? What is a web map service or what is a web feature service, and what are the methods and how to access it. One example we have got it from there also. Okay, now web coverage service, this I will not cover. We try to find it out yourself or in some other Monday basically. Next session we will take how to publish one coverage service and fetch it in some QGIS software. So it also have the methods like coverage. Already I told you, CSW, this is the web coverage service. So the methods are like get capabilities for the raster data set. This particular web service is basically for the raster data set. Get records, describe record, and this harvest. There are many other, but these are the most popular methods which are available with the web coverage service. Now there are certain, so this was about the OGC web services. So we have seen it, WMS, WFS, WCS as well. Now how to implement them. So we have seen one client application also like QGIS, which is able to fetch those values from the server. Now suppose I want to set up my own GIS server. I want to establish my own data set. I want to make them available as a web feature service or as a web map service. How to do that one? So there are numerous applications. This is something called Geoserver or UMN map server, ISRO ArcGIS server, Apollo server. These are some of the server or the GIS servers which allows you to publish your data as a web service. Like I was the previous examples which I have given to you, they all have published their data in Geoserver. So we will take Geoserver as our case study for developing this WebGIS application. If you see here, what is Geoserver now? It is also an open source server for sharing the geospatial data. Okay, it is a server component, a software you can say. It is designed for interoperability. It can publish data from any major spatial data source using open standards. It was basically started in 2001, and what it does, take your data and publish it on a network with a variety of protocols. Okay, with a strong emphasis on OGC standard, WFS, WFS, WCS, any format you can publish your data using Geoserver. Okay, but the extension of for mass markets are also available to them, like Google Earth, GeoRSS, GeoJSON. These are also extensions are available for publishing the data from these formats as well. Now, technical aspect, if we talk about, Geoserver is basically Java-based, platform-independent, server-side middleware software. It is not the client software or neither the server software. It is somewhere in the middle software, middleware. What it is doing basically, it is publishing your data to a web environment, and then you have dedicated applications which will fetch those data sets. It can be at the client end, it can be at the server end also. So it is somewhere in the middle. We have seen there also. Geoserver is built on GeoTools, is another open source, very widely used open source library. So it is built on top of GeoTools. What is the GeoTools? It is again a Java GIS toolkit. So total Java-based application. So what is important aspect is that it requires the web server such as Tomcat to be implemented. So we have seen in the first example over here, we require one web server as well as the front end will be a web server. This is our Geoserver. Then here I need to have a Tomcat server. Okay, web server. Name of that web server will be a Tomcat server. So here it will be a Geoserver. So these two is a combination is there, like both of them. Okay. So if we go here, so now easy integration with the mapping API. There are many mapping APIs also for developing the web application. OpenLayer, Leaflet. We are having a separate session for these two applications, these two APIs also. It provides the RESTful interface through which clients can retrieve information about an instance and make configuration changes. RESTful interface. It means all the resources are available only just by a URL. You have to provide one URL and you will get this data set over there. So if we take it another Geoserver, the technical aspect, display data on any of the popular applications such as Google Map, Google Earth, Microsoft Bing Map, or Mapbox. The modular application with additional functionality added via the extension. Web processing services, I want to do it. So it is an extension which can be added to your Geoserver applications. Now if you see it here, Geoserver also serves a variety of data formats. What are those data formats? Vector files, databases, servers, ARC, WFS, ArcSD, raster dataset, GeoTIFF, NetCDF, ArcGrid, ECW, Image Mosaic, JPEG 2000, World Image and others. Vector file, SAFE files it will support. There are others also. Database, PostGIS is one very popular open source GIS database management system. Some classes were there previously. I think Mr. Dharmendra might have taken these classes on this PostGIS. So that is the same thing. We can get the data from there as well into my Geoserver. So what it is doing, after taking all these data sets, it will create web feature services, web map services, web coverage services. It can also export it to a KML services as well. So vector data, SAFE file, GML, GeoRSS, GeoJSON, styled map. So styling is one important aspect. So suppose I want to publish the data along with the symbology also. Okay, different features having different colors. So that is something we call it as a styled map. So we have Monday we will cover this styling also. Okay, how to do styling, how to publish the map, how to style it. So a separate session is there for that. Today is only the overview of OGC and Geoserver basically. Okay, so this is what I was telling to you here. A style layer descriptor SLD. Okay, it is an XML document which derives the map generation. It will style your map. It allows for attribute and scale independent styling. So SLD file creation. Geoserver has a very simple style generator. It can also generate a very simple style that can be utilized for various kinds of applications. Various layers it can be applied. Otherwise also we have sub softwares like UDIG, GVSig, or even QGIS also for generating the SLD files. If we talk about the further here, so this is all I think from my side for today's session. And if we see here one more example, okay, this was your LULC map over there. Let me close it here. Close this maps, okay. Okay, this was your LULC map, correct. So this was basically a short demo on OGC web services and QG and this Geoserver. So from Monday onwards, what we will be having the next session, we will try to utilize that Geoserver software. So I will be telling you how you can install a Geoserver in your computer environment. Okay, that is basically for the demonstration for your research and development work, or you want to create some demo applications for your GIS using those GIS data sets, and then later on, once it is tested and all those things, you want to publish it to a production environment. That is a separate component. But for the learning purpose and for your small research component, you can always use a web server or this Geoserver in your local computers also. So we have sessions for converting your laptop to a web server as well as a map server. Web server we will take Apache Tomcat, and your GIS server we will take as Geoserver. So these two are the combinations. We will be taking it on Monday, on the Monday class. Okay. So what I will do here now, quickly I will show you basically how this Geoserver looks like. Morning only I had set up this server for this particular session in this computer over here. This is one basic computer only. So, but if I see it here, Bhuvan Geo portal over here, and then okay, tab. So if you see it here, this is the basic interface of Geoserver which we have installed here. Okay. Now here we have the methods like WCS, WFS. I will increase the size of the font size. Okay. This way. Okay. So this, if you see it here, if you log in, if you see at the top here, one local server 8080 Geoserver web, and then some layers I am displaying over here. So this is a basic interface. If you see it here, it supports the services like WMSTS, WCS, WFS, WMS, WPS extension also I have tried to install over here. So there are certain features, tile caching, grid sets, disk quota, blob stores. So these are different methods. Users, you can create users also in from web server. And now you can assign the policies also. Okay, which data set is available for what. You can create and which user can publish the data in your Geoserver, and what kind of data they can publish it. So all sort of security mechanisms, they can be implemented using this particular interface of Geoserver. Okay, so we will cover more into of it of this particular Geoserver from Monday onwards. So stay tuned to that class also. That is going to be a very interesting class wherein you will be having a hands-on of setting up your own web server, setting up your own GIS server, publishing the map into it or the layers into it, and then utilizing those maps in my QGIS. It was so simple. In QGIS, I was seeing the WFS published by someone else. Now I have published it. I want to see it there over there. So how to see all those things? This we will cover in the Monday session. Okay. So thank you very much. We will have a break of around 5 minutes, and then we can take up some questions from. Thank you very much.